understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell him that we bonded.
I want you people to understand.
Tell him that we bonded.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
Tell him that we bonded.
Yo bande, yo bande.
And greetings and welcome again to another episode of Naval String Connections. I'm Bilal Morris, live from my studio here in Los Angeles. Naval String Connections is a show sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations. Our producer is Noor Mohammed, the man behind the controls who make this show possible for us every week is Harlan. And again, We want to also thank our executive producers, the people who make this show comes alive and brings you all this show as a broadcasting network. XTV, our brother Most High, behind the scenes. We also want to invite you, the Belizean viewers, the Belizean audience of Naval String Connection. This is like 2.5 years of inception into the show. And we have brought on some movers and shakers on here. We want you to tell one across the Belizean diaspora. Those Belizeans in the United States, across the United States, you can watch this show on XTV Facebook page. And you can also watch the show on XTV YouTube. So a lot of our folks have said that they want to know where they can watch the show. You can watch it on those two medium, XTV Facebook and XTV YouTube. And again, while this show is going on, you can now tune in to those two, Facebook and YouTube, XTV, and you can see us. We are live and direct. And again, this is summer. It's hot. It's hot as hell here, right, Russell?
That's right.
And Belize, we don't know Russ, but we know Belize is tearing down with some rain, a lot of floods. I have a friend in Ghana who's like, man, the floods are crazy there, the monsoons. We're in the tropics, Belize and Africa and those places in the tropics. Here in Cali, we're in the desert. And again, we want to invite you to tell someone to tell someone. This is the Belizean show in the Belizean diaspora. I'm Bilal Morris here again, and we have a very, very, very special guest for us today. He's new to Naval String Connection, but not new to various Belizean broadcasting networks through which I have hosted him once before. Brother, the legendary Belizean footballer, defense, Russell Cheesy HULSE, joins us here this evening. And we want to welcome our brother because, you know, Russell is a very special kind of person for us. This baller here, as we see the World Cup unfolding over the last couple of weeks, brother, and many of us have been glued to our living rooms and to wherever we are, even if we're at work, we are watching the games on the phones, right? And I just want to say that Russell HULSE is not a stranger to a lot of Belizean football enthusiasts on the ground in Belize, and to a lot of Belizean football enthusiasts across the United States who may have known him. He was he was a former player of the legendary Belizean football team Spurs, and Russell is one of those Belizean footballers, as he will tell us, that come up through the ranks, primary school all the way. He migrated to the United States. Russell played excellent football, and Russell became the student athlete, right? And for me, I am just bringing his accolades here as I know them. Russell is like one of the first Belizean student athletes that I have known that won a scholarship to out of UCLA to play football, which in the United States they call soccer. And he also played on various teams in the United States, like he left and played with the outstanding Belizean football team, Rookies. I am working on a documentary feature as we speak right now on Rookies. And Russell, I just want to say, man, I enjoyed that conversation, looking at it back and editing it just to hear all those voices on that shoot that day. And also Russell HULSE played top professional football on a United States team called Maccabees. The brother will give us some more of his highlights. And he was qualified. I want to say that right away, Russ. He was qualified to play World Cup soccer. And that, I think, is around in the 80s. And I think that it is not impossible. It is not that Belize cannot have a World Cup football team. I don't think it's impossible, because this brother here that is guest with us today, has proven that Belize have World Cup football material. And with no further ado, my brother Russell, I want to introduce you to Naval String Connections, my brother. Greetings and welcome.
Well, thanks for the invitation. It's nice to see you guys.
Yes, man. Man, the first thing we ask, where your navel string with Barry, well, where your navel string with Barry Russell? I mean, where you born and where were you born, brother? Where were
Why,
you raised in Belize? And tell us all about it, how you came up. Tell us about your entire football career, schools that you went, how you came up, the discipline that was enforced on you. Talk about it, Russ.
okay, originally I was born in Orange Walk. My dad was a policeman, so we visited many of the districts. Um, we settled in Corozal when I was like 5 years old. And that's when I really started playing football because, I went to St. Paul's Anglican School in Corozal. And right outside the classroom, there was a soccer field. So we were on that field every day. Um, I always tell my brother that I love soccer so much that, trust me, my mom used to whip me every day because I would run away from chores to go play. I would get grass stains on my pants, and to punish me after the beating, I had to wash my pants to get those grass stains out. But it was fun. After the Anglican primary school, I went to Fletcher College, and that's when I really started to play organized football. We had Reverend Makey there. He was the principal, and he was from England, I think, and soccer was his passion. And that's when I really started to learn all the basics of football. One of the stories I like to tell is that I was very good in primary school, and when I went to Fletcher, I just assumed that I was going to be in the starting 11. And the ritual that when we would play I think it was every Thursday, he would post the lineup in the morning of who's starting and who was on the bench, the reserves. And I never saw my name on the starting 11, so I'm saying, what's going on? I'm better than this player. I'm better than that player. So I asked the senior players. I would say, why doesn't Reverend Makey put me in the first 11? And he said, Cheesy, your problem, you're like Pop. He said, you are Pop somebody, but 10 different times you're going to move with the ball. So, once that happened, I learned my lesson. The next practice, nobody passed the ball more than me. And so I started playing on the starting 11. But, it was fun. After Fletcher La Victoria, the senior team in Corozal at the time, they recognized my talent and they recruited me to play in the team. And at that time, all the games were at the MCC. So every weekend we would go get in the truck. They would take us to MCC. We used to go, of course, have our food, then go to the game, play our game, and then we would trek back to Corozal. Very adventurous. A couple of times on the way back, well, more than a couple of times, the truck would break down. So we would be there on the road until, the guys, in Belize, everybody is a mechanic. So sooner or later, they fix the truck and we would go back to Corozal. I remember one time we had a game on a Monday and I got off the truck from the game in Belize City, walked straight onto the field at the Recala Stadium to play my game because it took that long for them to fix the truck. But
Whereas you talking about trucks in those days, not buses,
no, they're trucks.
It was the
That's
rough,
right. The trucks that have that what you call those, that long board that you sit on.
Yes, boy, it was.
Not fun because those roads, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, my mom migrated to the U.S. Her and my dad, they divorced, and she decided to come over here. So after I graduated from Fletcher College, I w- went to Belize City, and we had a friendly game with this team. It was ASC at the time. So we played the friendly game, and those guys say, "Hey, Cheesy going to Belize. They look for a team." So they said, "Well, you can come play with us." So I said I agreed. And the week before I went to Belize, I heard there was a game with San Joaquin, which was a very good team. I think in those times, San Joaquin and Avengers were the two best team in Belize. Yeah, a lot of great
King out of
players.
Corozal and Avengers out of Kaya, right?
Avengers out of Cayo, and San Joaquin was, in the village.
Yeah.
San Joaquin, and Sharp was the manager. He had a lot of great players. You had Fred Martinez, you had Malanga. At the time, you had PNG. Oh man, they were a packed team, and you had Mosiah, the great Mosiah, in the goal too.
Yeah.
So anyway, I told them I when I saw that game with Spurs and San Joaquin play, I was amazed because at the time Spurs, I don't think anybody was over 20. It was all young kids and very talented. I was impressed. So I walked over to the coaches area, and then I inquired, who is this man? Who is the manager? And they showed me Teddy. I spoke to Teddy. I said, Teddy, I'm moving to Belize next week. Can I come practice with you guys?
Legendary Teddy Gonzalez.
Yes, Teddy Gonzalez. So he said yes. He told me where they were practicing. It was the park by BEC. That's where they were practicing at that time. So he created. When I moved to Belize, I went to the practice, and it so happens that the team ASC that I had promised to play with them, they were practicing at the same field. So they saw me and said, I thought you were going to practice with us. I said, no, I changed my mind. I'm going to stay with Spurs. And I think that was the best decision at the time that I made, because soon after, Ray Lucky, I think the government had hired him, or the Football Association, to come over and show different tactics to all the Belize teams. And he needed a team to play on, and he chose Spurs also. I don't know how Teddy did that, but that was awesome. And at that time, I was playing midfield for La Victoria. So when I went to Spurs, I was playing midfield also on the right side. Spurs had great players. You had Kizzy, you had Ramos, you had Mundo, you had Andrew Ronald, you had Philip Neal, Kello Leslie. It was a great team. Great players. They all were skilled. So after a while, Lucky spoke to me. He said, I'm going to put you in defense, center D. And I was going to play in there with Philip Gill. So he said, one of the reasons I'm doing it is because you remind me of Bobby Moore from England at the time. He said, because you never rush into a tackle, you're very patient and you wait to see what the other player is going to do. So I'm going to put you there, and that's going to be your position. And I've been playing that position ever since. So I stayed with Spurs for 2 years.
Harlan, as he's speaking, we have the photographs of Spurs and the legendary brother here. If you can put those photos.
Yeah, so in Belize, like, playing at MCC was the best place because the fans were there every weekend. and it was an awesome experience. But one of the things I didn't like, but before I get to that, when I was like 16, 17 years at the time, and I went to Belize City totally in awe of some of the players. And I'll name some of them. You had Mr. Ball for Landiva. You had Latchman. I
The
mean,
ball,
Bilal,
Angus Vernon, the
Anders
legend,
Werner,
Angus
yes.
Vernon.
You had Latchman. I wish you had seen him. This guy was a magician with the ball.
I remember
He played,
Latchman. I saw him play.
yes, I mean, he played forward. You
Yeah,
had, then you had Bullet Bob, right?
wow.
You had the Mole brothers.
Yes.
I mean, that's just a few. And then you
Mole
had
and Meatball.
Rungu. Yeah, you had Rungu.
Rungu
He was
Glenn.
defense for Red Stripe. He was a good player. And Malcolm, short Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Yeah, he ended up playing with Spurs. One, and I have a little story to tell about him. When I got to Belize the first time, I saw a friendly game with Malcolm. I can't remember the two teams, but he was playing. And as a footballer, what I always do is always study the players, and especially the forwards, because that's who I have to go up against. And I always watch their moves, what they do in certain situations. And this was the first time I learned my lesson that you can't just study one move. So we played a friendly game against Malcolm's team, and he got the ball, and I was right there with him. I said, okay, I know he's going to make a first move. I'm not going to do anything. And he made his move, and I rushed in, and he had another move. So, of course, he beat me.
He beat you to it.
Yes, I love, as a young player, that's what you do. You
Learn from the
you
elders.
learn from the mistakes you made.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, Belize had some great players. You had Maya.
Maya Ortega.
Yes, Maya was an awesome player. Malanga, Fred
Evangelist, right?
Martinez. Yes, then you had Mike Martinez. He played for Police. You had Cass. You had D-Line. No, D-Line, he scared me. I remember I was watching a game at the MCC, and somebody got D-Line upset, and D-Line knocked the guy out. so, so whenever I played against D-Line, I was make sure I don't get him upset. Because I was scared of that right hook.
The wicked striker, though, right?
Huh?
Dylan was a wicked striker.
Oh man, that guy left and right, left and right. And then another great player that I respected was Timmy Bedran from Avengers. That guy was awesome. The way he could hit the ball out of the air. Like you said before, there's a lot of great football players in Belize. A lot.
Yes.
But to continue with my story, I was walking by Majestic Theater one night, and I saw Pomo, one of the players I respected, and I always try to watch him to learn from him. And he had gotten injured. And he was, this is somebody that, he was a star in Belize City. And I saw him on crutches in front of Majestic Theater, and no one was helping this guy. And I looked at him, and then I realized that in Belize, when you're playing, the fans adore you. When you get injured, nobody helps you. The team that you played for, they don't help you at all financially. They don't. And I looked at him, and I felt really bad. There was nothing I can do. I was still in school. But I said to myself that I am not going to end up like Pomo, where I get injured and there's no one to help me. So it was then that I thought about migrating to the US to try and get better opportunities, because I realized that in Belize, you're going to play for so many years, and then once you can't play anymore, what are you going to do if you don't have the education? What are you going to do? So after 2 years with Spurs, I decided to migrate to the US. I came to LA, Los Angeles, and the only thing I wanted to do was play soccer. That was it. That's all I thought about day and night. So finally, I found this team. Ralph was the manager. They were called Atlas. No, it wasn't Atlas. It was they got a sponsor by the name of Sanka, and he sponsored the team. And that was my first team in Belize. I played with them for a couple of years, and then more and more players from Belize started migrating to the US. And so we had more soccer teams started to develop.
Yeah.
So the team after that I started playing was Neutrons, who Kadar was a coach.
Neutrons, yeah.
Yes, a lot of great.
Kadar Turton.
Yes, Kadar Turton was a coach.
Yeah.
And one thing I like about Kadar, he was very disciplined guy. He taught me a lot. Then I moved from Neutrons to Atlas, and that was the team that my brother-in-law George Greenwood had. It was a lot of players from Corozal. But in LA, you don't just have one community, because the players are coming from Belize, all of the districts. So you just gather players that want to play and make a team. Atlas was a good team, and we played at Griffith Park in the municipal league. I played with Atlas for a while, and then at the time you also had Holmes, another Belize team that was in LA. I have the couple names here. You had Holmes, you had Warriors from Hogan. Everybody knows about the Warriors. You had another team, Iseni. And this team was mostly players from, they were good. D-Line and Cass coached them. And, so, which was a good thing. You had, like I said, Atlas Home. Yep. And then that was when I made my other move. Playing with Atlas for a while, I came to the point in my career that it was stagnant. I wanted more, and I wasn't getting it from the Belize teams, not from the league we were playing. I wanted more than the competition we were getting. So one evening after practice, I was driving home and I saw right by Dorsey High School in LA, I saw this team practicing, and it was totally different, very professional. So I went in the parking lot, parked, and I watched them. And, it was the first time I ever saw a team where every player had a ball. They were in different groups doing different exercises. And I was very impressed. So didn't even know that they had just won the Lamar Hunt Trophy the year before. They were, at the time, the number one semi-pro team in the US. Didn't know that. So maybe it was a good thing because there was no pressure on me. So I found out who the coach was. His name was Azri. And I said, can I come and practice with you guys? He said, yes, very friendly. He said, and he gave me the dates and the time. So the next practice, I started practicing with Maccabees. Now, when I went there, even though I was a central defender, they already had that set up already. So he started me out at left midfield. I've never played the left midfield in my life, but who cares, right? You just want to play. Yeah. So we had a friendly, And it didn't go well for me because the I was supposed to mark the right side of the opposing team, and because I'm used to players coming at me, not players from the flank. So I was getting beat all the time, but I had enough speed to make it up. My goalkeeper at the time, they didn't know that I spoke Spanish. He was saying to the coach, take him off, they're beating him. But thank God, Azri, he saw something in me and he had patience. So we spoke. He said, what's your favorite position? I told him center D, and I could also play center mid. So he started me at the defensive midfielder in the middle. And after that, that's where I played with them until I played that position for the first 2 years with Maccabees. And then after that, he moved me back to my favorite position, which is in the middle defense. And that's where I played with the team until I left. Now, the thing about Maccabees, they were an Israeli team. They were sponsored by all of the Israeli people living in Los Angeles. They had their banquets to raise funds, and they had players from Israel, they had players from South America, they had players from Europe, and of course, they had one player from Belize. The coach was one of the things I like about Maccabees is that I learned a lot. It was totally different from what I was taught in Belize. I mean, I suffered the first couple months because we used to do drills where we had the circle with all of the players, and we had 2 players in the middle or 3, and you had to pass the ball around, but you only have 1 touch. First time in my life, because we didn't do that in Belize. In Belize, we go, we warm up. Most of the time it was forward against back. We didn't have any forward against back. And that was one of the drills, and I suffered totally. But I had a lot of pride, and I told myself that I am going to master this. So 7 days a week, I live in an apartment. It had a big wall in the back, and I practiced every day until I mastered the 1 touch, just me and the wall, because you kick it to the wall, it's going to come back to you. And I did that for hours until I mastered it. And it helped because the Maccabees, we played in this league called the Greater Los Angeles League, and it was the best league in LA and the country at the time because the Maccabees were winning everything in the country. So it was a very tough league. We had teams from Mexico, from Poland, from Italy, from Argentina, from all over the world. All of these migrants that came to the US, they formed their team, and that's where they played. Now, before we started playing there, like I said, I've never did 1 touch before. And those teams are so skilled that you have to know how to do that to play. Otherwise, you would do what I did. I used to lose the ball a lot. My strength was recovering the ball. I could mark a man, and in a couple seconds, I can strip him of the ball. But my problem was when it came time to pass. They don't give you time to touch, lift up your head, look around. No, they're right on you. So I would say 75% of my passes were bad. I'm not lying to you, Bilal. The crowd, because they're used to a higher quality, they were screaming to the coach to take me off, but he didn't. because he knew that I wasn't going to let my players score because of my defense. And he wasn't worried about the bad passes because it was happening away from the goal. But like I said, eventually I mastered it. I could do the one touch, two touch. I mean, the practices were just different. I mean, he taught me that you have to know where your teammates are before you get the ball. So when you get the ball, you know where they were. And we did practices like that where the teammates would move around and you had to find them. So it improved my game a lot. And ever since then, I played in the middle for Maccabees as a holding mid. And this is where I learned a lot of tactics, because whenever we played a team, Asri would always tell me, he said, okay, you are going to mark the playmaker. Don't let him get the ball. Don't let him create plays. It's going to break them up. They won't know what to do. And trust me, we're going to win the game. And it was just like he said. So I was on their playmaker the whole game. He said, if he goes to the bathroom, you follow him. but, and those were one of the things, nobody taught me that in Belize. So I learned a lot from Asri. Now, just to show you how competitive that team was, the first year I went with them, it was a transition. They just came off from winning the Lamar Trophy, and we didn't do well that year. They fired him. And he had just won the championship the year before. But go ahead.
I said the guy just won a championship and he got fired.
He got fired because we had a tough year. They brought in Z. Friedman, and he totally revolutionized our practices. He introduced us to possession, where we would keep the ball, and we train hard for that we could keep the ball for 10, 15 minutes without the other team touching the ball. It worked. That year, we won everything. We won the Lamar Hunt Trophy, we won the league, and we won the State Cup. Our record that year was 35-0.
Wow.
Now, this is another thing, just to show you how these people treat soccer. The players didn't like him because he worked too hard. No matter who you are, he worked too hard. And he was not a player coach. You have some coaches that get along good with players. He wasn't one of them. They fired him after winning 3 championships and going 35-0. And Azure came back. But, we had a good team, and we went on to win several more championships. I have it here. Yeah, this is what I won with Maccabee. We won the Lamar Hunt Trophy 3 times. I played in one other final, which we lost in New York. And there was another final where I was injured and I didn't play, and we lost that one. With Maccabees, I won the Greater Los Angeles Soccer League 5 times, and the California Cup won it 3 times while I played the Maccabees.
Amazing record.
Yes. At the end of my career with Maccabees, Orion had migrated to the U.S. And our goalkeeper,
outstanding Orion Orio.
Orion Aria. Yes, I met him.
Orio.
I met him. We became great friends, and Maccabee needed a goalkeeper because our goalkeeper, Eduardo Chantre, he was Argentinian. He had to leave because his mom was sick. So we needed a goalie. So I told Ori, I said, why don't you come, Charles, for the team? So we went, And then I had another another cousin with Derek Mosiah. He was 17 at the time. He used to come to the practice with me, and the coach was impressed with Oren, and he wanted to sign him up right away. So what I did, we were going to play, and when the coach showed us the roster for the team, because they had to cut players, he excluded Derek, who I thought was a big mistake, because Derek has skills. I mean, this was a young Belize player, and he was amazing. So I approached Azri and I said, Azri, why didn't you pick Derek? He said, Russell, he said, he's young. He will have other opportunities, but we were trying to help out a player from Israel that just migrated to LA. He got robbed and he was in a hard place. So we put him on the roster so we could help him out financially. I said, okay. I mean, I know the guy needed help, but I wasn't, I was very disappointed that he didn't pick Derek. So, and Ori knew of my disappointment. And that's when he told me, he said, Russ, he said, let's go to the Belize community. Let's form a team. That way you can coach them and teach them. And so I said, okay, yeah. I mean, I've been in Maccabees for a couple of years. I won everything. I've had, with the Maccabees, I've had players, professional players, come to me and shook my hand after the game. And they would ask me, what are you doing here? You should be playing professional. Why are you playing here? And I thank them for the compliment. When we won the trophy in the New Jersey Giant Stadium in New York, I marked a professional player from Greece. And same thing, after the game, he came to me, shook my hand. He said, you played a great game. You just marked me totally out of the game. There was a point that he got away, and we were ahead at the time. And right before he took the shot, I sliced and blocked the shot. And, that was the reward that I really appreciated, was when professional players from other countries would come up to me after the game and compliment me on the way I was playing. So, and the reason I brought this up was a lot of people would say, well, why didn't you go pro? Well, I had the opportunity to go pro. When at Maccabees, we had 3 players from UCLA, the 3 best players from UCLA. They came, and the reason is that one of the players from Israel had gotten a scholarship, and he went to play at UCLA. And he brought the 3 players because he recognized the talent. And when I found out, Yossi was his name, that he got a scholarship, I said, you got a scholarship to UCLA? I said, are you serious? So I asked the guys, can you guys get me a scholarship? They said, do you want to go to school? I said, yes. I said, of course, because, if I could get a scholarship and get an education, that's something they can never take away from you. It's with you for life. So they set up an interview with the coach. So I went to UCLA, met the coach. Turns out that he played in the same league we were playing, so he knew who I was. So, I mean, he gave me the scholarship right away. The only thing is, at the time, the NCAA had passed a rule saying that they were not happy. Players were getting scholarship to play soccer in the US because it was getting popular. and a lot of the scholarship were going to senior players. So they said that it is not fair to the young kids to be playing against grown men. So they changed the rule that you can only give a foreign player a soccer scholarship up until they're 25 years old. You cannot give any player a scholarship if they're over 25. At the time, I was 24, so I just got in. I mean, so they offered me 1 year scholarship. But I didn't care. It got me into UCLA, and I went. They paid my tuition for that year, but the next 3 years I paid it myself. But hey, it's not easy to get in a university of that stature. So I went to UCLA, played. After the year was up, the coach came to me. He said, LA Sunshine, because LA had two professional teams at the time. They had the Aztecs and the LA Sunshine. He said, LA Sunshine would like you to come play for them. Now, when I played for Maccabee, I always had a part-time job. Even all years that I went to college, I worked because, I still had to support myself. So I asked him, I'm not going to say the amount, but I asked him, how much are they going to pay? When he told me, I told him, no, that's fine. I'm happy with the Maccabees. Because you have to understand that during that time, the Pro League in the US, the only people that were getting any real money were players they brought in like Pelé, Beckenbauer, George Best. Those are the players that got all the money. The other players, they were hardly getting paid. So I decided that no, and I thought that if I went to play with them, I would have to leave school. I'm saying, okay, I'm 25 now. Why am I going to leave school and not get my degree? I said, no, I'm going to stay in school, play with the Maccabees, and get my degree. And I have not regretted it since. Because like I said before, I have gotten my praises from players from Brazil, from Argentina, from Mexico, from all over the world, because we had players from all over the world playing in LA at that league. So in my mind, I knew that I could have played at that other level because of the players that have played at that level have told me so. And no one's paying them to do that. They did it because of how I played. So anyway, Coco said, let's teach the players what we've learned. So he said he had a friend, Mike, and Mike at the time had a team. We needed more players, so we recruited from this other team that had players from Benke and from Cayo. But we didn't just stay there. We had a player from Russia. We had Tony Douglas, who was playing for the Aztecs, and he wasn't playing there anymore. He's from Trinidad. He came to play with us because he played with me after he left the Aztecs. He came to play at the Maccabees, so we were friends. From Trinidad, same culture. We became great friends. And I told him that I'm going to start coaching rookies, and will he come? And he did. He came. But, we had a good mixture. And what I did, I taught them everything that I learned playing with the Maccabees. And we had one of the best Belize teams in Los Angeles. As you can see, when you went to our meeting at Mike's house, all the trophies we won. And one of the great things I like about Mike Ferreira, is that, as a coach, you don't want any distractions, right? You just want to coach. And he took care of everything else there. And he was also one of my assistant coach. And I also had another assistant coach. He was the coach of the other team we recruited, Oscar Castellanos. And he used to be my assistant coach because while you're coaching and playing, it's not an easy job. So they used to watch, and halftime we would get together and say, okay, what's not working, what we need to do. And, I trusted them in whatever they told me that we had to change, and it helped. We were a good team. And I played with rookies until I retired from soccer and got married, moved, and that's it. I haven't
I
played.
want to stick up in there. I want to come back and talk more about rookies. We're going to take a
Yes.
short break. And when we come back, we will continue with the conversation. Our guest today is Russell CHESSY HULSE, legendary Belizean football player on defense and Spurs. Also, we heard his story from the humble beginnings coming out of Orange Walk, Corozal, into Belize City, and so forth. But we will hear more from him when we come back. And again, I want to say that this show is sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations. Our producer is Nur Mohammed, the man behind the controls. Make the show possible every week is Harlan. We want to thank our brother. And our executive producer is XTV. We want to invite you to stay with us when we come back after this short break.
The Diaspora Relations Unit within the Ministry of Tourism, Youth, Sports, and Diaspora Relations serves as the vital link between Belizeans living abroad and the government of Belize. As a unit, we strengthen relationships, encourage engagement, ensure that Belizeans around the world remain connected to their homeland, and make sure that wherever you are, Belize still feels like home. Another major initiative managed by the unit is the Diaspora Returnee Incentive Program, DRIP. This program was established to attract Belizeans in the diaspora who are considering repatriation. Through the program, eligible returnees are entitled to import household and personal effects, tools of trade, and a personal transportation free of import duties and taxes. It's our way of saying, welcome home, and making your transition back to Belize as smooth as possible. Another important aspect of the unit's work is the coordination and distribution of in-kind donations from the Belizean diaspora and friends abroad. As a unit, we organize and host diaspora meetings with large Belizean communities. These in-person gatherings allow for open dialogue, information sharing, and collaboration between the government and its citizens overseas. Through these interactions, Belizeans abroad are informed of national initiatives and can share their perspectives, ideas, and contributions towards national growth. We also attend events held by the diaspora to continue meaningful dialogues, share updates, hear ideas and inquiries, allowing us to keep the Belizean bond strong. Visit our website to access our chat feature. It allows Belizeans abroad to connect with our team directly for any inquiries or support. We encourage all Belizeans living abroad to sign up to our registry. This will help us keep you informed about initiatives, events, and opportunities to engage with your home country. The Diaspora Relations Unit, serving Belizeans, strengthening connections, and building a bridge between the world and home.
I am a true Belizean. I am a true Belizean. Belize my home, my native land. I want you people to understand. I am proud to be a Belizean. Your bande, your bande. Your bande, your bande. I am a true Belizean. Belize my home, my native land. I want you people to understand. I am proud to be a Belizean. Your bande, your bande. Your bande, your bande. am a true Belizean.
Tell them that we born there.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell them that we born there.
I want you people to understand.
Tell them that we born there.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell them that we born there.
You're born there, you're born there.
Tell them that we born there.
You're born there, you're born there. I am a true Belizean.
Tell them that we born there.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell them that we born there.
I want you people to understand.
Tell them that we born there.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Tell them that we born there.
You're born there, you're born there.
Tell them that we born there.
You're born there, you're born there. I am a true Belizean.
Tell them that we born there.
Belize my home, my native land.
Tell them that we born there.
I want you people to understand.
Tell them that we born there.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
And greetings, welcome back to Navel String Connections. We are getting into the second half of our show. Our guest today is our brother, Russell CHESSY HULSE, a legendary Belizean football player from the 60s, 70s. As we heard him, he had chronicled all the legendary Belizean footballers and teams throughout that country around that time. It was a very explosive and exciting time for Belizean football, which has declined considerably today. The best football we saw, was during the 1990s and into the 2000s. The outstanding Belizean football players like Macaulay and others that we can talk about, Benedict Lopez and people like those. But Russell Hulse comes from out of that exciting, explosive period. He has played on the Garden with the team Spurs. I guess he will tell us about the outstanding late legendary goalkeeper, Rupert Canalete Anderson. As you call him names, but I didn't hear you call Canalete at all.
No worries. He's in the top of the list. Yes.
We want to tell you to invite one. This is the Belizean show in the Belizean diaspora. Yes, there is that classic team, Spurs. We see you and we see Rupert Canalete Anderson. Talk about this team, bros. Talk about this team.
Oh, man. Like I said, when I saw them play San Joaquin, I knew in my heart that that is the only team in Belize that I wanted to play with. It was just amazing to see a team with a lot of young players with so much talent. And I'm saying, they're just like me. With Victoria, with San Joaquin, you had a lot of the older players, right? I mean, I was 16, 17 at the time. And Spurs comes and they gave San Joaquin a run for their money. There's a lot of great stories with Spurs, but one of them I like the most is, or I would say one of the best goalkeepers in Belize at the time, Canalete, Rupert. The thing about Rupert is that, when you're a defender, there's nothing gives you more confidence than knowing that you have somebody in the back that's going to take care of your back. That way, as a defender, you can take more chances. You're not afraid of making a mistake every now and again because you know that Rupert is back there. Okay? And he has your back, have your back just on the field. You can say it's in a crowd, but they have it off of the field. Okay? I remember I was walking home at night because I used to live with my aunt in Belize City in Yabra. So I going home, coming home, and in Belize, you would always see some guys under the lamppost with the light throwing their dice.
These boys.
Exactly. So I'm curious, and I go and I'm looking at them, because I was going to Wesley College at the time, and I went to the movies, and so I was on my way back home. And that's another thing about Belize. You know, this is late at night. You can walk anywhere in Belize and not worry, right? It was safe, no matter where you live, unlike now. So anyway, I'm watching the guys play dice, and this particular guy who was also a football player, I won't call his name, but he was losing money. And I happened to be standing behind him. So he said, "What you looking at? Get away from here before I kick your ass, you know, before I beat you up." So I politely stepped away, went home. The next day, I went to Canalede's house. And guess who's there? The same player.
Yeah.
He played football too. So I told Canalete, I said, so me want to beat me last night because he lose money and I'm stand up behind her. Canalete said, "Who? Why? You can't crazy. You ever touch cheesy? I will kick your ass." And from then, me and the guy, we became friends because if Canalete says you're okay, you're okay. Another incident with Canalete, we were playing Independence. And you know, it was rainy, the field was a mess. And I don't know what Andrew did, Andrew Hulse, but Lee Mole, I think it was the younger brother, got mad at Andrew and wanted to pick a fight with Andrew. And we turned around, and here comes Canalete running out of the goal straight at Lee Mole. Lee Mole started running away from Canalete. That was funny. But Canalete is a character, man, but he was one of the best keepers, and I was glad to have him as a friend. You know, this guy was a bouncer at, I think, when was it? At one of the clubs. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the club, but we would, whenever we would go to our districts to play a game, we would go pick him up from work and go, and he would play like nothing happened. I don't know how he did it. I met him after I migrated over here. I met him over here. He practiced with me at the Maccabees, but he wasn't interested because he wanted to move back to Florida. And then I met him a couple of times in Belize. It was a sad heart when he passed, because he was a true friend. But, you know, with Spurs, you know, that's how it was. We had Kizzy, great little, like Teddy calls him, the little general. Keller was awesome. He played the defense with me and Philip. When Philip migrated to the States, Bill Clark played with me in the middle. And I remember exactly when it happened, because we heard that Phil left for New York, and Ray came by and he said, "Oh, we found another defender," and it was Bill. Bill was younger than me at the time, but he was a good player. Then we had Ronald. Ronald was a defender like me. We had Archer. I think I heard he passed away too. We had Tilbert, not a great player. I mean, that's the thing with Spurs. Every one of them could have played on any team in Belize. And, you know, and Teddy did his job. All we had to do was play soccer every weekend. Spurs was, what I love about Spurs is that we were always traveling. I mean, we had friendly games up north. We had friendly games in Cayo. We had friendly games in Dangriga. Teddy also took us to Guatemala City to play a friendly game. And we recruited a couple of players from Cayo to come with us. It was, during that time, that was my best experience playing football in Belize, my best. I look forward to all the practices. I used to live in Yarborough, like I said, with my aunt. I would jog all the way because we used to practice at technical, and then Teddy, it was too small, so I don't know how he did it, but we started practicing at St. John's College. So my routine was to jog from Yarborough to St. John's, practice, and jog back. And it helped me because I was in tip-top shape.
Conditioning, yeah.
Yeah, and then, one thing I liked too was Ted even brought teams, I think a team from Honduras, and we played them at MCC. And that's the thing about MCC. There's no other place like MCC when you're playing. And that was, as they say, they use the word Mecca for football in Belize, and it was the best time. It was always crowded. I was working at the Treasury Department when I graduated from Worcester College, and it was nice because I was a cashier, and people come in and they recognize you because you played football. That's you play football in Belize, everybody knows you. It was the number one sport at the time. One of our greatest competitor was, and I always say this because I couldn't wait to play them, and I was so upset when Canalete went to play for them. When I migrated over here, I heard that he went to play for enemy number one, Landiva. Huh. Man, that was the team I always wanted to beat.
Gardner, no?
Huh?
You played against the legendary Keith Gardner.
Man, the team that I most wanted to beat in Belize was Landiva. I don't know why. And like they say, if you're not good, nobody hates you, right? They were good. They were a good team. They had a good coach. He was an awesome coach. So I always look forward to that game. And then when I migrated, I heard Canalete. I said, so you want to play for the enemy? He just laughed. Yeah.
Yeah, he did play for Landiva.
Yes, I was surprised. Yes, but Belize had so many great teams, and my only regret is that I left Belize before the inter-district.
Yes.
Because man, I've heard so many stories about inter-district football in Belize, how it exposed the whole country to a lot of the heroes and the great players at the time, and through my brother Kent, he would always fill me in with what's going on. Then when I met Oren, he told me about some of his games that they played, and that's the thing. We had a little bit of that in MCC because when I played for La Victoria, and all the teams, all the districts used to have a team that went to Belize to play. You had Summer King, La Victoria, you had the team from Orange Walk, you had the team from Avengers, you had the team from Stancrick, you had the team from Police, and then you had the Belize teams. Belize had so many teams in the city, so many.
Very much.
But it was, soccer was king during those times, and it was awesome.
First, as we are in this World Cup fever, with the World Cup coming to, I know you have been able to see quite a few of the games. You told me off the record that you meet Minister of Sports.
Yes.
Amala, the Spain versus Belgium game. Talk about it.
I was going there with my nephews and niece, and I saw this guy. No, my nephew said, Uncle Russell, you see that guy? And I look at it, it was this person with a shirt that had Belize in the back. I didn't know who the group was, but I said, Belize here. So I went. He said, oh, you're from Belize? Yes. Oh, nice. I'm from Belize too. And then I saw the minister. I knew who he was. So he asked me who I was. I told him. And, we had our brief chat. But it was nice to see him at the game. And I hope that he does a good job as Minister of Sports,
What I really
because
wanted to get into, too, in terms of, as we wind down into the last part of our conversation, is that the whole big question, Russ, is that we saw Cape Verde make it to the World Cup, right? And we have always, Belize have never had a World Cup team. You have played World Cup football, and we know that Belize have ballers. You were one of them that came out of Belize that were World Cup material. A lot of Belizeans like to say that Belize never gone into the World Cup, never got a chance to go to World Cup because Belize never had no players who were performing at the World Cup level. I have disputed that. I don't think so. Talk as a legendary Belizean footballer, someone who has played the game both in Belize and out here professionally in the United States at a very, very high level. What is the what is the truth behind this conversation? Did Belize really had Belizean footballers of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s that were football material?
Okay. I've had many conversations with Oren about this, and the answer to your first question is, do we have the talent? Yes, we do. The thing is this. Look at Cape Verde. I Googled, and out of the 26 players that represented them in this World Cup, 15 of them were not born in Cape Verde. They were players from parents that left the country, but they were smart enough to know that they needed help and recruited these players for their team. And it wasn't just Cape Verde. I also look at Curacao. Out of the 26 players that Curacao had to represent them at this World Cup, 25 of them were not born in Curacao. Most of them were born in Holland. Now, the thing is this, and the quickest fix for us would be to follow the model that they have. We need to recruit players from the diaspora. And we need a team. We need a team specifically for that job, because they're out there. They're here. I think they're in England. They might be in South America. They might be in Central America. They might be in the Caribbean. They are out there, and we need to find them. That is the short-term fix. It can happen. Now, one of the problems that we're having, and like I said, me and Oreo, we had a debate about it, is that the players in Belize, Oren said he got this first sign from them that they do not want players from the diaspora to represent the country. They would rather, even though they're not qualified, they would rather go and lose. And well, I shouldn't say lose, because no one wants to play and lose. You want to win. Once you step on the field, you want to win. But if you want to make yourself better, you cannot have a fear that if we recruit players from the diaspora, that they are going to be better than you. No. So if that's the case, then you work harder so that you're better than them. That's what you have to do. You can't have a fear that they're going to take your spot, because this is about representing our country. Now, do we have the talent in Belize? Yes, we do. And I'll tell you one of my experience. On one of my trips to Belize, whenever I go to Belize, I always look in the newspaper. I ask around, are there games and where are the games? Well, this time I landed in Belize the same day. I landed on Saturday, and I told my wife, do me a favor. I heard there's some games at Yabra, at the Yabra field. Could you drop me off? So I went to Yabra, and there were kids playing, right? Now I went on the coach's side. They didn't know who I was. And I just listened because I wanted to see how they approach the game, how they approach these kids. Now, when I look at these kids, Bilal, I'm telling you, we have a lot of talented kids playing football in Belize.
Natural talent.
Natural talent, because they're young. And it's good to see that. The problem is the coaching. I was amazed at the coach on the sideline. It was a young lady, I don't know who her name is, but you have to give her props. At least she was coaching. At least she's there. She took the responsibility to try and coach these kids. But she's not trained well. Because I coach kids over here. And my philosophy is that if you're talking to the kids, it's always positive. You correct a mistake by being positive. I was amazed at the language that this young lady was using at the place, and it was always negative, using curse words at these kids. Now, how are you teaching these kids like that? I mean, how do you expect them to get better when everything is negative? So we have to change that. Okay, so we have to train our coaches how to coach these kids. We also need to look at our neighboring countries and see, okay, how did they get better? Now, it's very hard, well, not hard, it's very difficult when you're competing against the region we're in. You know, we have the Caribbean, we have Central America, we have the big guns, we have the USA, Canada, Mexico. But we should be able to get one of the spots there if we do it the right way. Now, how do you do it the right way? When I was playing in Belize, the country that was at the bottom was Nicaragua, because they were baseball country. Now, they replaced us. They got better. We got, our level fell. Now we're at the bottom of the barrel. Okay, now do we want to get better? Yes, we should and we can. What we need to do is find out what they did to turn it around. What other countries in our region are doing to turn it around. We don't have to go to Europe. We can get the experience right there. It won't be expensive, but we need to send them to these teams to see how they train the kids and learn from them. We need to teach our kids. Like I said, when I was playing, I know it has changed, but when I was playing in the 70s, no one was teaching one touch, two touch. No one was teaching those skills. But I'm sure now we didn't have YouTube. Now you have YouTube. Every football player in Belize, if you want to put the time in, it's right there on YouTube. You can learn how to dribble. You can learn all the crossovers. You can learn everything if you put the time in. So we have to teach the coaches. We have to start looking for talent throughout the country, and we have to teach them a system that's very similar, so that when you bring them to the national team, whoever is in charge of the national team should have a system that they want to use and teach it to the young kids. Because the team that we have now is practically too late for them. It's hard, like they say, to teach old dogs new tricks, right? Some of them are too old, some of them are young enough, because I was in my, I was like 20 when I had to relearn the system the way it was being played. So it can be done. It can be done if you have the drive. But we have to have a coach that is in charge of the whole country, have him install a plan that the other coaches have to follow. The kids, they have the, if it's possible to bring back the competition for the primary schools, because, you know, they need to play to get better. They need to scrimmage. And you know, I always try to learn. So I always listen to the guys that have made it and to the great coaches like Arsene Wenger. And one of the things he said is that you have to let the kids be free. You can't, they have to learn the game by being free when they're playing. Then when they get older, that's when you start teaching them the skills that are required: how to trap the ball, how to pass, how to do one touch, how to look at the field before you get the ball, how to be able to dribble without looking at the ball. And that's the level that we want to be. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be a plan that will take like 10 years. It's not going to happen overnight. So we'll have to suffer. But you have to put a plan in place. Now, in the meantime, the way to have a decent team until we can bring up the young players is to go to the diaspora to look for players over here. We have a lot of talent over here for the women team, and it's same for the men and the women. We have a lot of young ladies playing soccer at a high level in the US. And if our women team would like to get better, all they have to do is start looking, and they can find them. And this is a short term to start playing better right away. And a lot of other countries are doing. A lot of when I was the CONCACAF women, a lot of the players on the roster are from over here. The Mexican women's team, a lot of the players are from over here because, unfortunately, and that was one of the problems with my niece before even Belize started playing. She was an excellent player, but we knew that there's no way she was going to make it to the U.S. national team. Because first of all, they were just trying to get if you look at the teams back then, even the men, most of the players were white.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't come in the Hispanic or the Black community where you can get good athletes. That's why I was glad when the U.S. coach, the German coach for the U.S., Klinsmann, when he told him that the U.S. is doing it all wrong because they're getting all the talent, if you draw the pyramid, from the top of the pyramid. He said, but the talent is always at the bottom because these are kids that are in neighborhoods and they're desperate to get out, so they're going to work harder and learn the skills so that they can get out. In Belize, we can't use population. That used to be the excuse before, but the world has changed a lot, that you can't use it as an excuse. You can find a lot of players that have Belize parents, and we have to recruit them. Somehow the FIFA in Belize, or they have to find a way to find these players. They have to find a way to pay for these expenses to bring them to Belize. That's my take on it. It can happen, but we have to change our mindset.
I'm so
With
glad.
coaches,
I'm so glad you're able to come on today and share with us, Roach, because that is the pressing question. we enjoyed your conversation about the highlights of Belizean football, but as a man that has played the game at such a level, we wanted to ask you that main question. And I just love what you had to say today. And I know our Belize Ministry of Sports, or Belize Minister of Sports, Minister Marla, the man meet you. I hope that the man may hopefully one day recruit you.
Bye.
Bring you in at the BNFA or whatever, because you're bringing skills. And I thought one of the purpose of bringing you on here today, Russell Hulse, is to bring a professional voice to this whole thing, because you have a lot that you can contribute to the development of sports in Belize at the level that you are now. This knowledge can be transferred back to Belize. And we are wrapping up, and we just want to say that this is Navel String Connections. We run out of time. Time goes so fast when we're having fun. You got to bring Russell Hulse back for part 2.
Anytime. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Got to bring him back for part 2, because a lot is still not said. But with that, we have to wrap. And we want to say this is Navel String Connections. I'm Bilal Morris, live from my studio here in Los Angeles. And we want to say that this show is sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, also the Ministry of Sports, which that Minister Marla, proud of that brother, who has now become the new Belize Minister of Sports. And we hope that he's watching today's show to hear our brother guest, Russell CHESSY Hulse, how he's bringing ideas and solutions to problems that we can use in Belize. And we hope that we can go further than this with Russell, in that Russell could become a Belizean sought after to help Belize develop a national football program. Bring it back to the days when it used to play good football. And as he was saying, to use those new methods, recruit from the Belizean diaspora, as well as developing a strong national team from the young people. Ross said that it's a 10-year program. Minister of Sports, we hope you're listening. And with that, we want to say to you and all, we want to thank our brother Harlan. And Ross, I want to say thank you, my brother, for accepting the invitation and coming on. No?
You're welcome. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And with that, we want to say to you, thank you for watching. And this show could be looked at on the XTV Facebook page and the XTV YouTube page. We can look at the show again. Thank you again for watching. Good night.
Good night.
I am a true born Belizean. Belize my home, my native land. I want you people to understand. I am proud to be a Belizean.